Your Excellency, Right Honorable Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I hereby move that the sectoral debate on our service chief do commence. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So now my speech. The Deputy Speaker, our leaders, honorable colleagues, our invited highly respected chiefs, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today marks a significant milestone in the implementation of our legislative agenda as we commence the sectoral debates of the 10th House of Representatives. This is the maiden edition of the debates, and I'm pleased we are commencing with the security sector. Our focus on security is immediately clear, given the unprecedented challenges of the past decade. Over the last few years, we have made significant progress in tackling insecurity through improved investment by the federal government and the gallantry and professionalism of our servicemen and women. I salute the courage of our armed forces and law enforcement personnel. May I ask all of us to stand and observe a minute's silence for the gallant men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice to defend our nation and those who have fallen victim to the pervasive insecurity in our land. Passing for all invited heads of MDAs are required throughout these sectorial briefings. As such, the House shall not accept proxy representation for any reason whatsoever. Notices are sent well in advance to forestall any excuses. Dear colleagues, only a few days ago, I had the honor of unveiling and presenting the legislative agenda of the House to the public. An important component of the agenda is improving the quality of debates on the floor and engagement with the executive on critical issues of national interest. As representatives of the Nigerian people, it is our duty to ensure that policies and programs implemented by the executives are in line with the aspirations and needs of the citizens we all represent here in the People's House. The commencement of the sectoral debate with ministries, departments, and agencies once again demonstrates our determination to ensure that legislative measures and decisions are evidence-based and people-oriented. The sectoral briefs will provide us with an opportunity to scrutinize the policies, activities, and plans of each MDA. It will also allow the House and members to understand better the challenges facing government agencies, their programs, and areas for legislative interventions. Accordingly, we have developed a calendar for our planned engagement with the executive, covering several thematic areas, including the economy, education, health, agriculture, infrastructure, and many others. These will be undertaken regularly throughout the life of the 10th Assembly. The debates are in line with our constitutionally assigned powers to make laws for the good governance of the Federation and to ensure that government programs and expenditures are in line with legislative intent. Therefore, the legislature must engage in constructive dialogue with senior government officials from all sectors to understand their operations, challenges, and legislative needs. Honorable colleagues, we made a conscious decision to commence the sectoral debates with the security sector, given that it is prioritized in our legislative agenda in Section 14, 2, and B of the 1999 Constitutions, as altered, declares that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. And in this declaration, the security and welfare of the people are conjunctively presented as a sole purpose. This session with the heads of security agencies is an important opportunity to brief the House on the progress made so far and other lingering challenges. Members will be able to ask questions on context-specific issues. I will be given ample time to respond to these issues raised. Through this interaction, we aim to foster collaboration in tackling the multiple security challenges that confront us. I urge all members of this esteemed House to approach these briefings with an open mind and a commitment to serving our constituents and our country. Let us ask probing questions that seek clarity on legislations, policies, programs, and implementation strategies. Dear colleagues, let us approach these sectoral debates with a sense of purpose and responsibility. We must remember that our actions can potentially shape the future of our great nation. Together, we can build a prosperous, inclusive, and a just Nigeria. I encourage our security chiefs to be transparent and forthcoming in their presentations. We are encouraged to provide us with accurate and up-to-date information. Share your successes and acknowledge your challenges. We are here not to reprimand, but to understand you better, and by so doing, find long-lasting solutions to your problems. I thank our security chiefs for their willingness to participate in this phase of the sectoral debates. Your presence here today demonstrates your commitment to democracy and good governance. I assure you that the House of Representatives will provide a conducive environment for fruitful discussions and deliberations. Each of you will be given an initial 10 minutes to give an overview of your agency, its work, successes, challenges, and requests to the House. Subsequently, the floor will be open for members to ask questions. Each member asking a question has 2 minutes for their questions, while 5 minutes is allocated for response. This is to allow for more members to participate. Members have an additional 3 minutes to ask follow-up questions. It is my pleasure, honorable colleagues, to invite the Chief of Defense Staff to introduce the team and guide the process. Thank you, everyone.
The engagement we are having today is with the security structure of country Nigeria. And in the interest of the honorable members as well as their constituents, and the interest of the gallant military and other agents of coercion in the field, I suggest that this kind of critical security issues to be discussed in an in-depth analysis on the floor of this House should be had in an executive session. Mr. Speaker, I am saying this not because of anything. It's simply because if we want to hear the truth and let the security chiefs hear the truth from honorable members as per information gathered from their various constituencies in Nigeria, and at the same time, for us not to do a TV show with the lives of Nigeria, there is a need for this session to be had in an executive session. I so move. Thank you, sir.
All honorable, if area that they feel cannot be deliberated on the floor, they are at liberty to tell us that this cannot be discussed here. But as representatives of the people, honorable colleagues,
It should be that way. No.
honorable colleagues,
No, Speaker, Mr. Speaker, no.
hold on, let me explain to you. We are going to have 2 phases of engagement. We will have engagement that will do openly, and then we'll have an engagement that will be done in executive session. Questions that cannot be answered in public we will do it in executive session. We are not saying that we will allow them to go scot-free without answering. But those that are too sensitive to be released here, an executive session will be conveyed where those questions will be asked and we expect them to answer. So your point of order is noted, and we will do that where we confirm that a certain question requires an executive session to be answered. Thank you, honorable colleagues.
My highly respected colleagues, our guests, the service chiefs, the Chief of Defense Staff. First, I would like to commend you for this eloquent presentation, and we are more informed, like what Mr. Speaker said, and more enlightened. Also, Mr. Speaker, I would like to use this opportunity to commend the Nigerian Armed Forces. They are the most loyal armed forces in the world, considering what they have been going through and their living environment. My question is, Mr. Speaker, how effective is the national counterterrorism strategy being in the whole of government approach to fight terrorism? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, a sizable number of the service chiefs and the IG touch on the area of manpower within the services. Okay, considering the experience and the reservoir of knowledge acquired by some of our retired military personnel and the police, what are you doing, or what have you done to leverage on the experience and knowledge of our retired personnel that are lying down there in order to help you address some of the security challenges that we are facing?
Mr. Speaker, my question is to all the service chief and the Inspector General of Police. There are concerns by Nigerians that the seeming reluctance by the security agencies to share intelligence may not have helped the security situation in the country as of today. What are you going to do differently to ensure that you collaborate with one another to get a good results as expected by Nigerians?
I use this opportunity to welcome the service chief and the IG into the chamber of the House of Representatives. And I equally use the opportunity to thank them for their services to our dear country. My question, Mr. Speaker, the northwestern part of the country is being bedeviled by banditry, kidnapping, terrorism, and other crimes. Which measures, both short and long term, are they taking to combat the situation and return the whole country to normalcy? Then the second question has to do with, does the Nigerian Army has enough manpower and equipment to fight and defeat terrorists in order to combat the current situation we are in?
My concern here is the Operation Hadarin Daji. You have launched this operation, or rather Nigerian Army have launched this operation on 19 March 2021 with the aims of combating banditry, kidnapping, and cattle rustling. But unfortunately, up till now that we are speaking here in this chamber, the numbers of bandit count have increased than it was before. And Chief of Army Staff, you have all intelligent information I believe you have. Before, in Sokoto, we don't have numbers of camp of banditry across the local government. But believe me, today, in Goranyo local government, my own local government, you have the intelligent information. I may not presume you don't know, but you have it, that there is more than 5 bandit camps in Goranyo local government. Not far away, 5 kilometers to the communities of their surrounding. Chief of Army Staff, Operation Hadarin Daji, the result that Nigerian Army are targeting to achieve through that operation, that result was defeated, or rather almost defeated. We want the Nigerian Army and the Chief of Defense Staff. What? Hold on, I'm rounding to my question. I have the floor, I'm rounding to my question. We want all of you, and you know, I was a commissioner.
Honorable Goranyo, please.
I'm rounding.
You are to ask question, not to lecture.
I'm rounding with my question, sir.
Please.
I need your protection.
Rephrase and ask your question directly, please. Just your question.
I'm rounding, sir. Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff, you know, so many governors across Northwest, they have made a personal effort in supporting clearance operation in their respective state. But unfortunately, that individual effort is giving little result, because you can only clear bandit from Sokoto temporarily in a couple of weeks. Before you know, next week they will resettle back. I want you people to collectively, please, coordinate a clearance operation that will take place in this affected area, so that the things will carry on simultaneously. That was my question. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues, my name is Honorable Yeyoba Otumba Adewumi Oriyomi Ononuga. I represent the fabulously united people of Ikene, Shagamu, Remo North. I am proudly from Ogun State. My question or observation or advice would be to the Chief of Defense Staff and the Chief of Army Staff. In my constituency, as small as some people may consider it to be, there is a company.
Honorable Marcus said, Madam wants you to listen to what she's saying. Very important.
There is a company that builds APCs and a lot of security vehicles. It's called Proforce, and I'm sure you know about them. I think they need to be encouraged, and if perhaps you are not at this point in time patronizing them, they should be patronized, because that would most probably reduce the number of importation and reliance on importation with regards to APCs and other security equipments that you might need. Because this is a security outfit, I do not know all the things they do, but I know for a fact that they do APCs. That is on one hand. You have intelligently told us your analysis and assessment of the situation that you have on hand. You have also asked this House on the assistance that they can give you with regards to your budgetary allocation. Would it not be suffice to say that it is important to have a kind of summit that would include the legislature, the judiciary, all the people that you feel need to be attentive to the situation and challenges that you're going through, so that there would be not a charade, but good discussions on the way forward and how you can be assisted with regards to making your job a little more easier than it is at the moment. I also wanted to say to you that local intelligence, a lot of people have complained that when they give information to the Chief to the security agencies and the police, they get round to be haunted with regards to the information that they pass across. It is important that you indeed make the people who are the best eyes, that you have also said here today, that security is a job for everybody. You need to also make them very comfortable with regards to being approachable for them to give you information and their lives not being at risk at the same time.
Mr. Speaker, my question is very simple. What are the strategic priorities of the defense sector, and what mechanisms have been put in place to ensure implementation? My question goes straight to the CDS.
The state. Mr. Speaker, my question is a very simple and straightforward one. But before I do that, it is important I join my colleagues to commend the effort put together by the security forces, particularly the Chief of Army Staff. Mr. Speaker, the Chief of Defense Staff, in his submission, has substantially answered my questions, but for emphasis' sake, it is necessary and very important that he gives us a list of the issues he considers important and germane for the House committees, relevant committees, to immediately attend to, so that the House will be able to swing into action in response to some of their issues.
My question goes directly to the Inspector General of Police. Mr. Speaker, I first need to commend the Inspector General of Police. He was just confirmed recently, and from his speech, we have had the effort that he put, and we need him to put more. So, based on your explanation, Mr. Inspector General of Police, what will you say is the most significant and lingering challenges hampering the effectiveness of the Nigerian police force? And what do you propose to this hollow chamber that will be remedial measures to take? Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity.
Mr. Speaker, I want to first of all welcome our service chiefs who are here. We should also note that since the inception of this 10th Assembly, we have at one point or the other observed a moment of silence owing to the killings of Nigerians across all the geopolitical zones in Nigeria. And this has become of great concern. I'm talking coming from the southeastern part of this country. I want to know, because some of these security challenges are politically motivated. I want to raise or ask this question to our service chiefs. If there is any plan for them to use some political solutions to solve some of these politically motivated security challenges. That is my question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I want to take a cue from the submission of the Inspector General of Police regarding the recovery of arms as far as your submission was concerned. Permit me to, on that note, quickly ask all the security chiefs that recent submission showed that majority of the small arms that are in circulation were illegally acquired through security armories or armories from agencies of our security places. My question is this: what are your clear commitment and what you've been able to do regarding all these illegal small arms that are virtually everywhere all over the country? And two, precisely, I may wish to know, on behalf of this House, on account of all these arms that are in circulation, what specific efforts are you making in making further recovery, just like IG has specifically mentioned? Thank you, sir.
My question, first of all, commend Mr. Speaker for this thought of having this session. It's a wonderful thing. And also commend all the service chiefs and the IG who are here. We do recognize the sacrifices that are being made by our military, who are our brother. Very supreme sacrifice. My question is simple. The Chief of Defense Staff spoke about welfare, as it were.
Honorable Aminu Jamo, where are you going? Go back to your seat.
Welfare, as it were, but I'm looking at welfare as it regards retired military personnel. Because once the military personnel leaves office, the next 1 or 2 months you see them, they are totally different person. Coming from a military family, I understand the fact that the retired personnel their welfare are not well taken care of in terms of pension, in terms of gratuity, is not paid on time, and even death compensation to their widows and families are not paid on time. My question is, you have opportunity to present your budget to this National Assembly. Why is the military and police particularly you have records, you know who will retire at what time. You have records. Why you don't envisage it? I'm waiting for Mr. President to make a pronouncement like he made some weeks ago for your retired personnel. It's very indicting. My second question here is, I come from Southeast. Southeast is highly militarized, police, army. Our brothers and sisters die every minute. Every minute. I thought that the military could use what they call, or advise the executive on what they call non-kinetic energy to quench this kind of unarmed agitators from the Southeast. Don't assume.
Please, he has the protection of the chair. Yes. Allow him to ask his question.
Yes. Particularly very unarmed brothers and sisters of ours from Southeast, because it's underreported the level of death coming from Southeast on issue of quenching unarmed agitators. We are in democracy. Everybody has right to agitate. So those are my questions.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Before going direct to my question, being the chairman of the National Security and Intelligence, I would like to draw our attention a bit regarding the submission made by the CDS, who happens to be somebody I know long before becoming the Chief of Defense Staff. Being the second longest serving theater commander of the operation, Hadin Kai, I know him together with the Chief of Army Staff, who happens to be a Chief of Staff in Monguno in 8th Division. These are men that I believe Mr. President appointed them not by coincidence. We have seen the synergy that we have been crying for long existed in between them. They have made it categorically to us the challenges they have, the cumbersome of the crisis we are managing in this country. If you will quantify it in terms of resource and manpower, we will appreciate them and we will immediately resort to an executive session to look into a solution. This time around, Mr. Speaker, I want to put it to you straight, Mr. Speaker. Whatever you will going to do within the powers conferred on you at this legislative chamber, we should make sure that we have made funds available, not only the budgetary allocation. Think outside the box to provide resource for the employment of Nigerians into the police, into the military. If you look at all these crises, we have to wear our thinking cap without empowering and considering the welfare of our security operation. They have said the deficit clearly to us. If you look at the population of Nigeria, with what they have on ground, definitely the issue needs a critical and logical conclusion. They have said it clear. And my question goes to the IG first directly. The Inspector General of Police, please, when are you reviving the Mopol unit in Limankara, Goza, which I believe the second stronghold of Boko Haram is in the Mandara Mountain as I'm speaking to you. They will run to the high hill, attacking our security operatives day and night, attacking farmers, slaughtering farmers. And to the CDS and the Chief of Army Staff, which I know, they have said it clearly. What I want to ask, what is the benefits of the technology that you are having now, and what are your challenges if we will imbibe the culture of providing more into our security and defense system in terms of cyber security and technology?
I wish to start by commending the service chiefs and the IG on their efforts in quelling the security situation in Niger State. Mr. Speaker, with their coming, we've had relative stability in terms of peace, and the way the activities are coordinated, I think, is what is bringing about the success being recorded so far. So I wish to encourage them, commend them and encourage them in keeping up with doing what they have started. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, recently I was privileged to accompany my governor to Rwanda, Kigali to be precise, and one of the takeouts was the organization, the professionalism, and the smartness of their security men, especially the men of their police force. So I wish to direct my question to the IG. What can we do in the immediate time to enhance professionalism of our policemen, given that what you have today is far from what they are supposed to be? We may take inspiration from other countries, but in specific time, what can we do? What do you think we need to do to change their orientation to enhance their professionalism for the betterment of our country?
Mr. Speaker, I represent the good people of Fado Okpoko Baribu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I want to first and foremost thank you for this privilege and opportunity for us to interface with the leaders of this very critical national segment of our country. It is a good thing that you have done, and posterity will bear you witness as one of the great leaders of this country who has helped greatly towards solving the security challenges bedeviling the country. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I also want to align myself with the submissions of the very distinguished honorable colleagues who have made their submissions in applauding and celebrating the sacrifices of the Chief of Defense Staff the other security chiefs, and the Inspector General of Police. As a matter of fact, I have it in good authority that since their appointment, they have done very, very well. Mr. Speaker, the challenge today, we have equally seen this in the past, that the first few months of the appointment of security chiefs in the country will definitely experience some level of positive gains. I want to believe that the current security chiefs.
Please summarize your question. So many people are waiting to ask their own, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my question would be to the Chief of Defense Staff who made reference to the issue of human rights. Human rights is a very critical and important aspect of the war against insecurity everywhere in the world. So my question to the Chief of Defense Staff will be to elaborate before this hallowed chamber the measures that they are putting in place to forestall unnecessary human rights abuses by our troops, so that we will curb the excesses of international non-state actors who will come to interfere with the good work that they have started.
Speaker South of Delta States. Mr. Speaker, having listened to the service chiefs, particularly the Chief of Defense Staff and Chief of Army Staff, they have alluded to the fact that they are not properly funded. They alluded to the fact that they need more equipment. But there's a missing gap. At your own level, there may be synergy. How well have you been able to drive this synergy down to the local government areas? We are the representatives of the people. Most often, we'll find clashes between police, you find clashes between SSS, you find clashes between civil defense. So at that level, there's no coordination. You are in a command position. You cannot go to that level. So what steps have you taken to drive the synergy down to the lowest level? Without synergy, equipment cannot use themselves. Without synergy, the fund cannot give us the desired result that we expect to get. Because what happens is, or what we are relying on, what happens to the downtrodden level. That is the lowest level of security apparatus. That is where I want the service chief to address, particularly the police, army, civil defense. They are not here today, and SSS are not here today. So the three services that are here, please, I want you to give a reply to this.